Welcome to the latest edition of the Nick and Rob Homer Hour. This week, we're going to get into how the Pats are doing as they're now tied for the NFL lead with 9 wins and the number 2 seed in the AFC. Talk about how those trades have worked out in week one post-trade for the Dallas Cowboys. And also, of course, take a look around the NFC, AFC East, and the current playoff picture. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Oh, it is going. It was a big week of football. Both of our teams won, and the Colts didn't even get a chance to play, so they didn't lose. So we can declare undefeated week, and it always feels nice when our teams win, for sure.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And the week kicked off with a bang with our latest live stream watch along as we watched the Patriots take on the Jets. And we had a great turnout in the chat and from a lot of our fans. So it was really good to have everyone along, as well as a lot of friends of the pod joined in for what started out rough, as the Pats love to give up an opening touchdown, and then they settled in for a solid win.
Yeah, and they did it the variable style too. So we'll get into that on Eastside News. And one thing that's for sure, looks like we possibly have a gambler. Might be able to get him on the show, and that'd be really exciting if we can get some of his insights. And a lot of New England Patriot fans joined the feed, which is really nice, much appreciated. In spite of Tony was David in the lion's den that whole time, and he held up well.
Yeah, he held up well. It's always good to have Tony hanging out with us. We'll look forward to him joining again, of course, on the next watch along, the next live stream.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and kick it off with some Eastside News, Rob.
Let's do it.
This is Eastside News.
Well, we got Eastside News, and I actually don't want to. Oh well, should we go with the Patriots first? Since
they kicked off the week, we might as well go with them. So, as you all, of course, should know by now, MVP frontrunner Drake May and the New England Patriots started off slow, but then went ahead and had a solid victory over the hapless New York Jets. 27-14 was the final, and outside of like the opening, I mean, the Jets hung around because it's a divisional game, but pretty much by halftime, the game was not in doubt, which felt good. Some stats from the game: Drake May had a solid but unspectacular game, 25 of 34 for 281 yards. And a touchdown. He was only sacked once, which is great because he's been totaling a lot of sacks. So it was the Jets, but it was still the Jets have a solid defense. So it was a good momentum builder for the Pats O-line to only give up the one sack. So that was awesome. New England still is struggling to get solid rushing yardage stats going. It's been a theme throughout the season, but TreVeyon Henderson had himself a day. He only averaged 3.3 yards a carry, but he did haul in a total of 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing and 1 receiving. So he's more and more, he is stepping up. He seems like he's going to be that back of the future from New England. Granted, we all want Ramondre Stevenson back as soon as possible to give a couple options, because there's not really any options behind Henderson right now. Dearness Johnson, 3 carries for 6 yards, really had nothing going for him. Receiving, it was the Stephon Diggs show, as it should have been. 9 receptions for 105 yards. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he had several key receptions, and the Jets had no answer for him all night. Mac Hollins had a solid game, 4 for 64, and Hunter Henry was just always there, 4 for 45. But his biggest, most impactful play was getting behind TreVeyon Henderson when he got bounced back and shoving him into the end zone for a touchdown. It was great. So yeah, things look good. Defensive side of things, Robert Spillane had himself a game, 9 total tackles, 5 solo with a pass defense. Christian Gonzalez he had a pass defense, but he was getting beat a little bit throughout the night. Didn't have his best game, but still made an impact, which was really good to see. Biggest news for the Pats coming out of this game, besides the fact that they sit at 9-2, in a great spot, 1 in the division, and then 2 in the currently the 2 seed in the NFC. AFC. They're in the AFC. Oh my goodness. Is defensive tackle Milton Williams. He went out in the first half with some sort of ankle injury. He came back, tried to play on it. Then they ended up ruling him out for the rest of the game. He's got a high ankle sprain, and he has been placed on the IR. So this is going to be a big test for the Pats defense. He was a crucial part of it, which means 2021 second-round pick Christian Barmore, who is a very good player, is going to have to step up and carry and shoulder a much bigger load. He missed last year due to a blood clot issue, and so he's been kind of on a pitch count throughout this year, but now, I mean, he's been pretty much cleared, but now he's going to have to really step up. But I think he will. So that's how things go with the Pats. The Jets just outside of the opening drive was masterful because I don't think Justin Fields threw more than one pass on that whole opening drive. They just marched down the field. Breece Hall got almost all of his yardage just in that opening drive, and they got a touchdown. But outside of that, it was a mess. Justin Fields just can't get anything going at all. At one point he had I'm blanking on it, but he just did not play well. Granted, his top weapons out. They don't have good receivers. John Mechie led the way, 3 for 45 with a touchdown. That was pretty much it. Besides Breece Hall getting about 50, 60 yards of rushing, 58 total yards. I would say the highlight of Justin Fields' night was actually what I was calling on the broadcast as butt fumble 2. It was a low snap. He recovered it, stumbled, got kind of bumped into one of his players, and then as he fell down fumbling the ball, trying to recover the ball, his head went right into his lineman's butt. Ball gone, Pat's ball. And that is
Crazy.
pretty much it for Justin Fields. He's benched for next week for Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters, Tyrod Taylor or whoever they put in there. It's just going to be a tough show for the Jets. They've got a long year ahead of them. It's all about the future and those first 5 picks in the next 2 years. That's what they're going to be focusing on. And they, I think, have a bright future ahead of them, especially with Aaron Glenn. But right now, this year, they're just going to be suffering. My biggest question for the Patriots side is not necessarily the defense. Your defense is just looking great. They actually look great all year long. I mean, every defense is going to have a hiccup game every once in a while, but for the most part, it's a pretty solid defense. Tough to pass on, tough to run on. Everything you would ever want from a defense, it's looking really good. Offense, Drake May's looking good. I liked how Henderson looked this last couple games, actually. He's starting to turn it on. Unfortunately, I didn't start him in fantasy, so shame on me. And it looks like a couple of wide receivers are stepping up, too, as well. So Stephon Diggs, obviously, is the big name over there, and he seems to be doing well. My concern with the Patriots is that offensive line, because this Jets defense was really, really weak, especially with the Quinnen Williams trade. So they're not going to be your best test, your barometer on how good that offensive line is. And they still seem to be struggling against the Jets. When you're talking about them playing against the Bills, the Chiefs, or all these good defensive front teams that are out there, the Denver Broncos, probably the best defense in the league right now. How do you think the Patriots are going to be able to stack up? And do you think they're going to be able to compete with the best of them for the rest of the year and into the playoffs? Because it looks like they're going to make the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, the Patriots are making the playoffs. It's just a matter of whether or not they win the division or they end up in a wild card spot. Still a long way to go. We still got six games, 7 weeks to go. So nothing is wrapped up yet. No chickens should be counted. They have not hatched. But honestly, this was overall, one of the better games. It helps that they sent Williams to Dallas, but only giving up 1 sack. That's a lot of good stuff to build on. We've got, I mean, we used the number 3 overall pick on offensive tackle. He's been protecting Drake May beautifully. We've had Morgan Moses has had done okay. He could do better, but the line was something we knew was going to be a work in progress. Last year, it was possibly one of the worst in the NFL. It's being rebuilt. It's being redeveloped, and still Drake May is thriving. Do I think the Patriots are ahead of schedule? Yes, I do. They're ahead of schedule. Do I think the Patriots are winning the AFC this year or winning a Super Bowl this year? No, I do not think so. That being said, I do think they are good enough to win a game or two in the NFL playoffs, especially if they get a home game. But it's going to depend on the matchup. It's going to depend on what's happening. If they win the division, get the 2 seed, and lose a playoff game right away and go 0-1, the sky's not falling. They're ahead of schedule. They've got Mike Vrabel. Thank you, Amy Adams Strunk. Good job failing miserably in Tennessee. We're playing with house money here on out the rest of the season. It's all about developing, getting these guys key snaps in high leverage, high pressure situations. And that's what it is going forward, because you're 9-2 with everything to play for. You want that bye. There's only one of them, because if you end up in the 2 seed, there is a strong chance that you're hosting Patrick Mahomes. Very strong chance you're hosting Patrick Mahomes. And that could be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with that defense there. Patrick Mahomes looks like the offense in general has just been struggling all year long for the Chiefs, so it'd be a big advantage for him. So you're just saying expectations. Let's not go Super Bowl quite yet, but overall we got to be very. I mean, who can argue with that? You got to be excited with their performance so far, and
we'll
yeah. I was going to say we're definitely talking about that too when we get into the playoff hunt. So we're kind of mixing it up during the Colts segment for sure.
Yeah. So what's let's give us an NFC East team.
Well, the NFC East team that we're going to be talking about, I figured we can tag team this since both of our teams were involved with it. It was the Washington Commanders against the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we're going to be pretty brief right here because both teams are looking. Dolphins, though, could come back to make the playoffs, and we'll talk about that, too, when we get into the playoff hunt. But the Dolphins ended up winning. They went 4-7, and the Washington Commanders lose in overtime. Really bad timing on their end because they're off, I believe that's 4 straight losses now for the Commanders. The only bright side of this is it was close, and the other games, they just weren't. They were getting blown out. So the fact that they got into overtime and the Miami Dolphins just squeezed by, moral victory for the Washington Commanders at this point because they did not look too good. I mean, we get it. Jaden Daniels, he's injured right now. Backup Marcus Mariota tried to go out and play for him again, and he's going to have to probably take over for the rest of the year, I would imagine. And Marcus Mariota, at this point. And Marcus Mariota went 20 for 30, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had a 44-yard scramble, but outside of that, the offense just did not do too good. Deebo Samuel had a touchdown reception, and the rushing attack, collective was 172 yards, but they were not able to get it into the end zone too much. Overall, the Commanders look like a struggle bus. They look like they're going to have a tough year ahead of them, and a lot of questions to be had when it comes to this year because I think now that Jaden Daniels is out, I just don't see a bright future for the Commanders because they keep falling and losing games back to back to back like this. I mean, they're definitely out of the race for sure.
Well, I mean, that being said, the Commanders were unbelievably ahead of schedule last year with the run they made in the playoffs. That shocked everybody. They're not that deep right now. They really aren't. They're still getting a new culture. They're still getting a new identity. They're still getting out under the shadow of Dan Snyder. The record sucks this year, but they haven't had Terry McLaurin most of the year. Jaden Daniels keeps getting hurt. that defense has been old and not deep, and it's showing. So this isn't surprising. Anyone, if you were really paying attention to the Commanders, you're like, everything broke right last year. This year, everything's breaking wrong. I still think they have. I know you've got history with Dan Quinn. I still think they've got the right coach. And I think next year they'll be right back into it if their front office makes the correct moves to help get the depth.
My only argument on the Commanders is it seems like when it comes to salary cap wise, they look like they were all bought in for the next 2 years. They went out and got some big free agents in the 2 years ago to create this window that they're in right now. And if they don't start winning now, I'm just a little concerned that is it going to get any better? Like you said, they're top heavy. They're mostly old on the defensive side. That offense is just not looking good now. Again, without Jane Daniels or Terry McLaurin, so I don't think they're going anywhere.
And
I've got some
trading Brian Robinson was clearly a very dumb decision.
Yeah, it didn't.
I mean, granted, he's just been kicking back all year, barely doing anything because McCaffrey's not getting hurt. Good for McCaffrey. But at the same time, none of the running, everyone got all excited about the 7th rounder. Well, he was a 7th rounder for a reason. And their line's not good enough to make him an all-star. I think having the injuries and having no Brian Robinson, there you go. But their window's still open. Yeah. This is only year 2 for Daniels. They've got 3 more with him on the rookie deal. So if the front office is smart and they can get their stars healthy and bring in the right pieces for next year to get that defense a little younger, get the depth there, they're going to be right there.
Yeah, and I think they were in a weird, they didn't know whether to buy or sell during the trade deadline, and I think probably selling some of your assets would have probably been a good idea to start retooling and get ready for next year and maybe get a big splash in free agency, but who knows? Maybe they'll turn it around. But what about the Miami Dolphins? They ended up coming back or they ended up winning that game. And you're starting to get high on McDaniels, if I'm correct, right?
I mean, I've always been high on McDaniels. He's someone who, like, before we brought Vrabel in, I'm like, can he somehow get fired in Miami so we can bring him to New England? And now I don't think that. We've got the best coach in the National Football League. We're good. We got Mike Vrabel. But McDaniels is smart. He's good. Him and Tua clearly clash at times, but they make each other better. I think McDaniels makes Tua a lot better than Tua makes McDaniels. But, Devon Achane is he's the engine that makes his whole offense run. 21 for 120. He didn't get a touchdown. Ollie Gordon sniped that touchdown for him. Gordon's coming along too. They might have a solid. I think Jalen Wright's days are numbered in Miami. I think he's elsewhere next year because I think Achane and Ollie Gordon are going to be a really competitive 1-2 punch. And, there's not a lot of stats to go through. It was a 16-13 sloppy game in Spain. I'm glad it's cool. They went to Spain. That's awesome. But things to note, the next 4 games for Miami, let me make sure I got this right. The next 4 games for Miami, they're going to play the Saints, the Jets, the Steelers, the Bengals. They could very realistically, especially depending on what's going on with Burrow and Rodgers, they could go 4-0. And all of a sudden, they're making noise. And they're 8-7 with 2 weeks to go. And they're fighting for that 7 seed. Now, in all reality, will they probably go 2-2? Will they, probably, and that'll end it. But they have a chance to go 4-0, get 8-7, and make a run. If they go 4-0, no matter what happens the last 2 games, McDaniels is definitely back. I think Stephen Ross, their owner, he's smart, but he makes quick decisions sometimes. I think he's doing the right thing, bringing in a new front office. But at the same time, if I'm the new front office, unless something crazy happens, I don't let go of McDaniels. I see what he does in the next year while I get acclimated to the job, figure out what really needs to change. which probably the biggest thing is just no Tyreek. And if, like we brought this up, I think last week, if you can flip Tua for Kyler or someone else, I think Tua for Kyler is the best deal. You do that because I don't know. I got to bring this up because I saw the quotes. I double and triple checked them. They're real. I heard them on Sports Radio Talk today on a number of sources. We could literally do a weekly segment of Did He Say That featuring just Tua. Tua has famously said this year that Josh Allen is far better than he ever will be. He said a lot of dumb things. This week, he was asked because the reporters were giving him softball questions. First, they asked, because obviously they're in Spain, where else outside of the United States would you have fun? Do you think would be fun to go play? Did you hear these questions and answers?
No, I did not actually.
All right, so I want you to take a guess. If he had to pick, the NFL hasn't played before, where does Tua think would be fun to play outside the U.S.? What do you think his answer was? Pick a plot. You're going to get it wrong, so just pick a place.
Okay, Portugal.
That would be cool. Great food, great wine. He said Hawaii.
They played there. Yeah, they definitely played there. And it's still in our country, Tua.
So it is also still in our country. So then the reporter said, okay, that was somehow really hard. They asked, well, how about where else in Europe would you like to play?
We could go back to Portugal. I'm going to go with Portugal.
Yeah, no, he didn't say that. He said Jerusalem. Do you know what continent Israel's a part of? Besides all the war-torn strife going on there, we're not going to dive into politics. But do you know what continent Israel's a part of?
I think they're on the Asia side. Yeah, they have to be on the Asia side, right? It's Middle
they are
East,
officially they are officially a part of Asia. So at this point in time,
Jerusalem? That's a terrible place to play right now.
Also that, yeah. And again, we don't need to dive into the details, but he started to give an in-depth answer about how great it would be to play in Jerusalem.
He must be a hardcore Christian. He's taking it from that angle, right?
I mean, he does the eye black crosses. But he just set football players back 30 years. Back to, they're always so dumb.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to really believe a lot of football players are very smart because it's a complicated game. And people understand and know that.
He's not making the University of Alabama look good right now. Yeah,
not too good at the University of Alabama at all. Honestly, if I was Mike McDaniels, Nick Saban's retired right now, right?
Yeah.
I would give him a call. Say, hey, Nick, you, Miss Terry, Miami wants to fly out. I know you don't have a great history with Miami, but it's okay. That's in the past. Come on out. We're going to ship, you come out, we're going to get you this first-class house that you're going to stay in for the next week. We're going to make Tua move in with you for a week. And you and Miss Terry just get his head right or something.
I mean, with the amount of concussions, it actually is probably just very concerning because he never came across as unintelligent or anything like that before.
No.
So if anything, that's actually just making me worried about him because if he's getting that spacey and all over, that's concerning. He probably, like the rest of the experts said, you probably need to start talking about retirement too. If your mind's getting scrambled that much.
He's already got life-changing money. He can let his brain heal, go into TV, go travel the world, do a Tua travels show, learn where all these places are located.
Rob, it's not just Tua.
You know, I don't give him a hard.
I
don't give him a hard time at all for saying Israel was and Jerusalem was in Europe. I legitimately double checked that it was in Asia before I just assumed I was correct because you know the way, and it's heavily tied into European and Western politics.
Mm-hmm.
But the location, I'm like, really? That's where you said as far as there's there's nothing fun happening there right now. But for me, it was the Hawaii thing, dude.
Yeah,
Hawaii's part of the U.S.
you were born and raised there too. So how do you not know that? Maybe that was a political statement. Maybe he says Hawaii should secede. Maybe that was part of it.
I mean, we did kind of steal it. If random aside, y'all, it is a very interesting story. I think Jason Momoa made a movie or a movie's coming out about it at some point soon. But go back if you like history at all or just like interesting stories. Go back and actually see what happened. It's very interesting how the U.S. ended up with Hawaii, kind of sort of by accident.
Yeah.
What didn't go well for the Hawaii locals, obviously, but
but
they get all our vacation dollars and they get to vote. So
yeah, and it was just a crazy. I'm glad you brought that up. That was actually a really good topic there with Tua, especially with the Dolphins, because not much is going on right now between them. But hey, you know what? Maybe Tua turns it around, gets 4 wins, everyone loves him again, and everything's going to be hunky dory by the end of it. I've just got a lot of concern for him, and I love your idea where Kyler Murray should go over to Miami and Tua should go over to Arizona because they're on the last year of their contract anyway. Let's just get this dished out and say, hey, maybe a new scenery might change it. Just don't know if both teams would sign up for it, but
they should.
Love that.
I mean, Miami should in a heartbeat. Miami should in a heartbeat. Arizona, I could see why. But, maybe that nice dry air, get Tua out of the humidity. Maybe that'll help.
And you could give them a couple draft picks, like maybe a 4th or a 5th, just sweeten the pot, make it right. So
something easy. So how about let's talk about those Philadelphia Eagles.
Boy, there is a lot going on with this game, and I'm going to talk a little bit about 4th down for you guys because that was really interesting. That's like the big topic. I was so yes,
before you dive fully into it, if the Lions miss the playoffs, is Dan Campbell in danger of losing his job for a more level-headed head coach to take them to the next level?
No. Dan Campbell is Detroit, and Detroit is Dan Campbell at this point. I just don't see that happening. And I bet you
I agree. I just wanted to throw it out there.
I think there's a lot of Lions fans that are going to be defending him to this day just because they like the grit and just what he's about. And hey, one topic, we'll get into the 4th down. I've got a whole little breakdown of what exactly was going on through Dan Campbell's mind in that. But the big thing that happened, the Philadelphia Eagles win again. Thanks, Detroit. Thank you. Really helped us out. Because that would have been a really nice win for Detroit to go get that win and get the Cowboys back into the division hunt, which we'll talk later with the Dallas Cowboys. But the Eagles defense dominated. And when I say dominated, Jared Goff had a terrible game, and he's got already a kind of a stigma about him that he doesn't do well in the outdoor games. And boy, he lived up to that hype. It was terrible. He threw 14 completions with 37 attempts, his career low in completion percentage ever, 38%, 255 yards. That's actually pretty impressive, especially with the 38% completion rate. One of them was a big 40-yard touchdown to Jamison Williams, and 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Just a struggle bus for Jared Goff, though. I mean, he just looked terrible out there. He's already got this stigma that he can't do well right there. And the big reason why, and the big question going into this game, is you're dealing with kind of the best of both worlds. I think you're looking at the best offensive line in the NFL against the best defensive line in the NFL with Jaleel Carter and crew for the Eagles. And the defensive line ended up winning the day for sure. The Eagles defense is legit. They're looking really good out there. And I don't know if many teams could get by. Their offense has been struggling overall. Jalen Hurts threw 14 for 28, 135 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. There was a report that a player is really mad. I don't know if you saw this. Now, this is a classic sources say, and it's my biggest pet peeve in sports, news, everything. I hate it when I hear sources say just because it's too ambiguous. I don't know who said it, but I'm going to go along with the story. that one of the players stepped up and had an anonymous quote about how they're not liking Sirianni's offense, how he is not throwing the ball enough, how they're not doing really well on that end.
But
they're still winning football games, but the offensive players seem unhappy. I made a joke about it. I said my sources say that must be AJ Brown. But
right. So I was going to say, didn't AJ Brown just have a meeting with the Eagles owner, and didn't he just promise he was going to knock it off?
But if he's an anonymous source but some guy on Twitter,
so now he's the
that.
source. Brown's now the source. Honestly, I know the trade deadline's gone, but addition by subtraction, just tell him to stay home for a few weeks. Pay him.
Yeah,
just tell him to stay home.
And I would not cut him yet because he's still going to be a valuable person on the team. And he did join, he was part of the Super Bowl winning team. So it's not like he's so chaotic enough that they can't win with him. But yeah, I would start questioning, do we need him around next year for sure? But I mean, a lot of it, you do have to bring up the fact that Jalen Hurts, though, did not have a good game as well. And I can see his frustration.
But he's playing the Lions.
With it. Yeah, 50% completion, though, is just not too good. Now, it was a windy game, too, so you can make that argument that it was just bad game for offense, hence the score. It was only, 16-9. Outside of all that, one of the biggest controversies that ended up happening was the pass interference call that did get called and shouldn't have been. Did you see that play?
That was bad. That was so bad. I don't understand. Pass interference, they need to take. So I think the UFL, which we cover, and keep a lookout sometime in the next few weeks. Nick and I will be dropping an off-season preview pod. We just gotta get that content out for you all. But they go a little far with their reviews because of the way you can manipulate it. But pass interference should be reviewable. Plain and simple. That would solve so much.
I get so frustrated with the way NFL's handled reviewing pass interference because they did do it. They were reviewing pass interference. I think it was 4 years ago.
And they got rid of it.
And then they got rid of it because they just kept on favoring whatever the ref called. We're just going to go with whatever the ref said. And I swear they did it on purpose because they wanted to back the refs on all their decision-making on it, but also make the fans happy by saying, see, it doesn't work. No, NFL, it works if you actually use it correctly. I get it. You don't want to do ticky-tack pass interference calls. And I also get it. There's pass interference on every play. There's a lot of hands in motion, and I get that. I get that you don't want to call it on each play.
But maybe you even argue that and I'd be okay with this, it is pass interference is only reviewable if it happens on a fourth down attempt, if it happens on a play in the end zone, or if it happens on a pass of more than 15 yards.
That's fair. But please make a legitimate call. Don't just go with whatever the ref says out there. And this would have been
I would add a fourth thing. Inside of 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, because you could have a big play, I don't know, like a 14-yarder.
Which I know is technically the NFL has to review that, not the coach. But
I would like it, but the NFL, I think, is on purpose just trying to stay away from it because they're acknowledging the fact that pass interference is just not a black and white play. I think you should make the rules as black and white as possible with it. Say hands is okay, but not grabbing or anything like that. Just make the rule book as black and white as possible, and then whatever that rule book it says, we're just going to go by. Okay. And if it doesn't look good, change the rule book just a little, but we've got to make it where you can actually have objectivity when it comes to pass interference, because it drives me crazy that we keep complaining about it. And I hate it too, because you'll see your defense do a big incomplete pass. And what's the first reaction that you do? You wait, and you're waiting.
Yeah.
Is a flag coming out or is it not? And you're just nervous. And 5 seconds go by, no flag, you start celebrating. Hey, my defense stopped
Yep.
him. And it ruins
Yeah.
the engagement of the game. I just want raw emotion. I want instant reaction. And now I'm just teetering on, are they going
Everyone's
to
just
call it or are
waiting.
they not? Yeah, it's
The,
frustrating.
the referees have too much power. So I think that adjustment would be good. Also, you know what? Set up some sort of because they already do grade the refs each game,
Mhm.
but actually have their jobs legitimately on the line. If they miss more than if they get more than 5% of the calls wrong in a game, they shouldn't be eligible. Shouldn't be eligible to be on a crew the next week. They have got to sit out a week and go
Yeah.
through some retraining drills.
Yeah.
And you just have a slightly bigger crew and you rotate it through.
And you could definitely incentivize them by paying them more too. And I don't think they get paid that great. I know they just recently had a strike, but
Yeah, I think the NFL can afford to give them full-time pay.
it's a tough job. I don't think it's easy. People say, "Hey, I would love
And
to be a ref. I'm on the field." I don't want any part of that. I don't want
and if
80,000 people mad at me.
the NFL can give Goodell 50 plus million to chill for the owners, they can give the refs some money too. The refs don't need to be signing $1 million contracts or anything, but they can be getting legit pay, legit benefits, full-time gig. And as a full-time gig, you know what they can do in the off season? Ooh,
Practice.
they could go to the UFL. Ooh, they could do all sorts of clinics and development and this and that. Like, so many options.
Yeah, and just get it crisp. Get your veteran refs in there. I love every point when it regards to the refs out there. Um,
It's
the
a
other
hard
big
job.
thing, yeah, it's definitely hard. But obviously, the big talking point and the biggest argument, like you were just saying with the Detroit Lions, is the fact that they went for it on 4th down repeatedly. Repeatedly. Now, Rob, I'm going to ask you something. Are you familiar with expected points added?
Yes.
Okay, so expected points added for the people that might not have heard of it is the average. Is essentially the average points that you're going to get if you convert the 4th down. Okay, so an example: 4th and 1 at your own 48-yard line. Before the play, if you convert, you have a 70 to 75% chance of getting the 4th down. So you have to calculate that into it. And if you keep the ball at the 49 or about the 50, you're expected to get on average plus 2.4 points. If you don't get it, which is only 25 to 30% chance on average, the other team is expected to get minus 2.8 points. So you multiply it by your percentages of getting it, and vice versa for the other team, and then you figure out what they had. So for instance, that one, they had a plus 1.8. If you're ever plus, you go for it. I swear, Dan Campbell just goes by the book. Every single one, it was plus 2.1 EPA, plus for the 4th and 1 at the 48, plus 1.8 for the 4th and 2 at the 43, 4th and 5 at the Philadelphia 32, plus 3.9, 4th and goal for the Philadelphia. Obviously, it's a 4th and goal. It's going to be very high, plus 5. And then in 4th and 3 at the Philadelphia 45, they were at plus 2.9. These are all if they converted, and then obviously calculated otherwise, would the Eagles be plus or minus points? So he is just going by the letter of the law, and he is going to stick to that formula until he dies. And he doesn't care about situation. He doesn't care about win factor. He doesn't care about how his offense looks.
He said as much in the post game. He says, "It's just who I am. I'm gonna keep going for it." And it's like, well, coach, make some adjustments, because for the layperson that may have been like, "Whoa, Nick, you're speaking German to me. Football's American." Very simple thing to look at. They were in reasonable field goal range on 2 of those, so they didn't make. So that's 6 points off the board.
Mm-hmm.
One of them that they didn't convert turned into a touchdown for the Eagles. So
yes, yeah,
you could argue that in total, just from those 3, there was a 12-point swing. And what was the final score of this game? It was a touchdown, right? It was a touchdown difference.
Yeah, a touchdown difference.
16-9. Yeah.
So in the EPA, if you don't convert, it goes back to the other team, right? And in total, the Eagles had plus 33 point something EPA, all because of their decision making that they made on earned point average. So it definitely.
And by their decision making, you mean the Lions head coach?
By the Lions head coach, because of their poor decision making, they essentially got 33 extra points average on an average of the position that they are on the football field. They were able to get that. So they had the field was tilted heavily to the Eagles, to their credit, because they stopped those fourth down plays. And there's another reason why you're also doing it. Look, the Eagles are going to be going for it a lot. I could see that. All logic aside,
yeah, but look at the scoreboard. Look at the scoreboard. Look at the game, and you've got Bates. Take those 2 field goals. There was the one where you're on the 45. That's no man's land. Go for it. That's literally the only one that you can justify going for.
Yeah, and just know
the Lions outplayed the Eagles. Their head coach cost them the game. And now, if the playoffs start today, which we'll get to soon, the Lions aren't in the playoffs.
But also, you got to ride with the horse that got you there. That's the way Dan Campbell looks at it. You got to take the good with the bad when it comes to these things. And it's very exciting when he converts. Everyone celebrates. And then he has games like this. He's going to keep doing what he does because he's not going to play with fear. One thing I like about Dan Campbell is even in the playoffs, a lot of the coaches will turn all that EPA crap off. They start playing much more scared, especially Kyle Shanahan. He's the most guilty of it. And Dan Campbell's one of the few coaches. I don't care if it's the playoffs. I don't care if it's this. I'm running this.
That cost him
that way.
That cost him in the playoffs, though. It cost them in the playoffs. They should have been in the Super Bowl.
But it got him there. But it also got him there. So you got to start balancing the act.
It got them there, but then it cost them. So any good coach knows when to adjust, change gears. For all the hate Bill Belichick gets now, and most of it rightly so with a lot of his decision making, Tom Brady wasn't one calling the plays. Tom Brady wasn't one changing up the defense on the fly. Tom Brady wasn't the one reading all the minutia and then being like, ooh, we can take a safety here, and then that gives us this field position here, and then we're going to go in and score, win the game. So you got to be able to adjust that. Look at it another way. Any good poker player, if all you ever do is 3-bet, 4-bet, get super aggressive, you're going to end up you're going to ride high for a little bit, but you want what's going to happen if you don't shift gears and adjust to how the others are playing and the cards that you get? Boom, you're going to go broke. And right now, Dan Campbell is a gambler that is just stubborn, and he is doubling down on every bet that he misses and digging a deeper hole for himself that he doesn't have to dig.
I guarantee you this. There's going to be a big playoff game. I think they're going to make the playoffs. Now, that's going to be the big debate. Will they make it? They have to get through the Cowboys first. Think about that. But anyway, if they make it to the playoffs, I would not be surprised if he goes for it on 4th down, converts it, and I think people focus on it when it doesn't work, and then people focus on it when it works. No one even talks about it. So it's a weird game. You're playing in the Eagles. My stance, Rob. I'm a go for it guy. I am I lean more towards the Dan Campbell type. For sure.
I love going for it, but you also got to read the room. Especially when you got Jake Bates. If you had a crappy kicker, fine. But your defense was doing awesome. Help the defense out with some points. There's a balance. You got to balance it. I love Dan Campbell. He's one of my favorite coaches. But right now, if you told me Pats, Lions, Super Bowl, I'm putting all my money on the Pats because I know Dan Campbell is going to do something idiotic way too many times, and a coach like Mike Vrabel, who is balanced and smart, is going to take advantage of that.
We'll see. That'd be a really good game, and I kind of hope for.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be really excited about that. But I don't know. I lean towards the gunslingers a little bit more, but we'll like win it out, air it out kind of thing. But I think it's real fun. Maybe it's because it's not my team, so I'm not as concerned
Oh,
with it.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm taking the other side of the debate to take the other side of the debate. Um, I I don't hate that he's going for it. It's just don't cost your team the game because you're being that stubborn. That's all.
Yeah, and he is one stubborn fool, and that will cost him. I do believe in that. It's sometimes changes it up every once in
It
a while. I
cost them
agree
the
with that.
NFC Championship last year. They should have won.
Against the Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would also make an argument the
Oh, yeah.
interceptions
Sorry,
that Jared
division.
Goff threw also didn't help. So you got that
Division.
element to it.
You know what I mean? But
The
if
division.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one of the NFC East. I think who's the last? It's going to be the Bills, right? For the AFC East.
Yeah. So do you want me to talk Bills or do you want to talk Giants? Do you want me to talk Bills now, or and then you go Giants Cowboys, or do you want to do Giants now and then go Bills Cowboys?
That's fine. No, I'll get into the Giants. The Giants, who just recently lost Dayball and ended up having Kafka jump in to support him or to be the interim head coach, came in there, didn't change much. They ended up losing that game to the Packers 27-20. And I got to tell you one thing. I mean, Packers wide receivers looked awful. They were supposed to be at home. This is supposed to be a Super Bowl contending team. And I've got a lot of problems with the Packers right now. They've got to get it together because they have lost 2 games in a row, and then they go out to play against the Giants in the Giants. Again, windy situation, but it's kind of tough for the offenses to run like that. But to barely beat the Giants 27-20 was just not pretty at all.
Well, to be fair, they have no receivers. Their front office, they did this with Aaron Rodgers. They're doing this with Jordan Love. They will not get a veteran weapon for Jordan Love, for their quarterback. They drafted Matthew Golden. That's a start, but he's a rookie, and who else is on the team? And then Jacobs did get hurt.
Yeah, Jacobs did get hurt. And one of my arguments, Christian Watson, but he's got the drops, and that's what I don't like about him. He's a great route runner. He's hyper fast, and he's also injury prone. That's another downside with him.
Dubes drops it a lot too.
Who?
Dubes.
Oh yes, Dobbs. Yeah, he's
Dobbs.
He's known for it too as well. Jordan Love went out there. He only threw 13 for 24, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. One good thing about it, though, not good thing, but his shoulder ended up getting hurt. Malik Willis had to come into the game, and he threw a TD pass in the middle of that. And Jordan Love ended up coming back from that shoulder injury, coming back to win the football game, and overall ended on a high, even though it was overall not a great game for them. The Giants, though, ended up starting, and I was excited about this. Kafka basically said, I'm done with Russell Wilson. I'm not even going to mess with that. I'm going to go with the gambler myself. I'm going to go with Jameis Winston, who threw 19
had a great game.
Had it all right game, 19 for 29, 201 yards, 0 touchdown, but that one late interception. Surprise, surprise. That's what Jameis does.
It's Jameis. He only threw 1. And how many practice reps did he have before this week? Probably 0.
Yeah, he probably.
I'm calling it right now.
He doesn't need him.
2 things about Jameis. 1, if Kafka keeps starting Jameis, the Giants will play themselves out of a top 3 pick. They'll end up picking 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. 2, Jameis Winston will be the week 1 starter for the New York Jets next year. Not week 10.
Look,
I think week 1. I think they draft someone, and I think they bring in Jameis to.
Did you watch some highlights and see the good? Because Jameis always has a lot of good highlights, but he also has a lot of bad, man. He makes you head scratch. He's a gambler. I love watching Jameis Winston on someone else's team. I can't do it on mine. I would be
he's not going to start for the Jets all year. He'll start for the Jets 3 or 4 weeks, and they'll turn it over to their rookie.
Oh, you said the Giants. Okay. You're
No,
saying
like
the
if he
Jets.
goes to the Jets next
Oh,
year,
okay.
he's their bridge guy. He's their bridge guy.
That would be a great bridge guy. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying he was going to start for the Giants, and I was getting confused. I was like,
No,
Jackson Dart? I
no,
don't get it.
no.
Yeah, they
But
had a guy.
If you're Kafka, you want us to keep rolling him out. If you're the Giants front office, you might say, Jameis, we're shutting you down. We got to bring Russell Wilson back. The Giants
You
should
got to
want a
let
1 or 2 pick.
they
But
they
Kafka wants
should,
to
but
win. Kafka wants to show whether the Giants or someone else. Kafka wants a head coaching job next year.
yeah, and it's when you're looking at number one overall picks, you're usually looking at quarterbacks right now, and I think they're satisfied on quarterbacks. So a mid-tier pick, you're still going to get a really talented athlete that should be able to help your team right then and there. I think the
Right.
focus should be trying to get that culture about winning for Kafka. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're going to win out; they'll lose naturally.
There's
I
no
promise.
for the Giants, for the whole NFL, there is no quarterback right now that is worthy of being picked in the top 2 or 3 picks. So that means your lines are going to probably end up going. The Giants need that. They need O-line. They need D-line. Like, you want a top 3 pick. Or if somehow a couple teams panic because you got Dart, you don't need a quarterback, and someone comes and offers you a treasure trove for the 1, 2, or 3 pick, you say thank you, and you take it, and then you fill all your holes. So Jameis Winston could ruin that because he had a pick, but he's competent where Russell Wilson is not.
Uh, he's competent, but he's also going to get you in trouble. I love it. I'm glad he's there. He might even beat the Cowboys. It wouldn't shock me if they did that because he's such a wild card. And you were saying he didn't practice much, probably not at all. But the thing about Jameis is he doesn't need
He
to.
probably ran
He
scout
kinda
team.
yeah, he throws the playbook out and then starts playing there. And he had a funny quote about New York City. I don't know if you saw that press conference, but I brought a smile to my face because I love Jameis.
Oh,
love him a lot.
he was singing Hamilton, yeah. Jameis Winston has grown so much since when he was a dumbass at Florida State with
Right.
legal issues and crab leg stealing and some other accusations. He's clearly matured and become a functional adult, and you love to see that. You love to see someone grow and mature in that way. So
And he
it's
and he
hard
still
not
acts
to
like
root
a
for him
kid.
now.
Yeah, and he acts like a kid though. He has fun too. I just he brings a smile to my
Well,
face
because he
every
can
time I see
see
him.
things now. Until he got LASIK a few years ago, he couldn't see anything.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he cared too much. He just went, pow, I'll throw it in there anyway. I don't care. And his game, I just love gunslingers. I have a heart for him, so it's
Yeah.
fun to watch. But yeah, the Giants didn't end up winning. I think there's a lot of concerns on the Packers side, but we're focused on the AFC NFC East, so I'm not going to get too far into it. Giants keep doing Giants things, and the Bills.
The Bills. So the Bills, they survived and advanced in their game. Yes, the final score was a 2-score game, 44-32, but the Bucks played them hard. A poor timed interception by Baker really kind of derailed him. Sean Tucker had himself a game. If you have a spot or a depth spot that's doing nothing in fantasy, you should probably go snag him before someone else does, because he could keep on rolling in that offense for sure, because Rashad White didn't really do anything compared to what Sean Tucker did. The scary thing for Buffalo, they won. They're still right there, and I would still say, I think when Buffalo plays New England, there's a very real chance that the winner of that game wins the division. Very real
Right
chance. So as happy as excited as we are right now, the Patch of the 2 seed pushing for the 1 seed, they could easily all of a sudden become the 5 or 6 seed. And not by losing too many games. They could go 12-5 and be the 5 or 6 seed. That's how the NFL setup works, and that's okay. But the Josh Allen is struggling. He needs a true number 1 receiver. He doesn't have it. That's something they have to answer in the offseason. Tyrell Shavers, have you ever heard of him? He was the leading receiver, 4 for 90. They ended up, I want to make sure I get this right. I believe it was Keon White, who should be one of their star receivers. He ended up being benched for the game because he keeps breaking rules. He keeps breaking team rules. He keeps missing things. And a couple of the Bills leaders in post game were asked about it, and they pretty much said, "This is as far as his teammates are concerned, he's on his last chance." So sorry, not Keon White, Keon Coleman. There we go. I was mixing some people up. So, Gabe Davis made his first start of the year. They pulled him off practice squad, 3 for 40. But McCole Hardman came in. He only got one target, though. He also just came right off the practice squad. He could find himself moving up. But they don't have any receivers. James Cook can't do everything. So Tampa Bay is a very good defense. They shut him down, 16 for 48. And they said, okay, Josh Allen, you come beat us. He did because he's Josh Allen, but he still had 2 picks. So
yeah,
Allen needs some help. And I don't think Buffalo is in a spot where they're like, oh, they're going to use a baseball reference. They're going to treat their head coach like he's Grady Little and fire him and go get the next guy, or to use an NFL reference to, treat him like Tony Dungy and go find their version of John Gruden. I don't think that'll happen. But if the Bills don't have home field advantage in the playoffs, if they don't have a home playoff game, I think they're one and done.
I think they're just one wide receiver away from being one of the best teams in the NFL. In my honest opinion, they're just one wide receiver away. So
they had Diggs
in the draft and get him.
They got rid of Diggs. Thank you.
I mean, I think the reason why they got rid of Diggs, though, is he was a cancer to the locker room. And if you remember, they were not doing well with Diggs, kind of like the A.J. Brown situation. I think he's highly talented. He just wasn't mixing well with the team, and he became an issue. But
at that point, do you look at not just culture, but coaching and structure and say, hey, like Vrabel, like Diggs has been a model citizen. Cardi B was seen in the box a couple weeks ago with Robert Kraft. Stephon Diggs' current woman who he's having a child with. Fun story. Apparently, Stephon Diggs has 4 different children on the way, but Cardi B is his current person. So yeah, there's that. But we love Stephon Diggs. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
The analogies, since we're throwing sports analogies that I can relate it to, is Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. Everyone agreed he was a cancer. He was terrible. He was this awful human being. He needs to get out of Brooklyn. Goes to Dallas. He's a model citizen. Sometimes change of scenery is just needed for both parties. And I think that's the Stephon Diggs situation. I think it was just, we need to move on. He needed to learn his lessons. Possibly Sean McDermott needed to learn his. And we grow from there because it's just not working out between us two. So I don't shame him for cutting Stephon Diggs. It was bad. It was really bad in Buffalo towards the end. Locker room wise, not player. He's great.
Oh, for sure.
Locker room wise.
And if the Bills are dumb enough to let go of Sean McDermott, Atlanta better, like, however much money he asks for, they just give it.
I would want to fire Shoddy right now. I love Shoddy. He's doing okay. But I would want to fire Shoddy right now and go get me Sean McDermott as quick as possible. I think he's a hell of a coach.
Yeah. I've been pleasantly surprised with Shoddy. This was a very emotional game for the Cowboys. So let's get into it.
Yes, it was really emotional. As we know, Marshawn Nealon was not with the team because of his tragic event. And the teams went out and played for him. In order to honor him, they had stickers with the 94 sticker on the helmets. Shoddy, even in the post game, was crying before he does his classic celebration. And Shoddy is an emotional guy, too. So it hit the team. It hit him hard. If you know Dak Prescott's history, too, he had a brother that suffered the same mental illnesses, that had the same, same result where he ended up passing away way too early. And it hit close to home for him as well. But the team went out and they played for him and played really well. Granted, big joke that I have for you, Rob. You guys might be making the playoffs, but we did something this year that you could not do. We beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Got that for us.
That's true. Destroyed them. Destroyed them.
Yeah.
And, looking at I know we're still going to talk more about the game and stuff, but the Cowboys can go 3-1. If I had to pick Cowboys or Panthers for the 7 seed, I think Cowboys are the better team.
Yeah, but they have a much tougher schedule. We'll get into that when it comes to the playoff run. Oh, sorry. But yes, the Cowboys won 33-16. Overall, really good performance. The offense did what they were supposed to do. Crosby started off the game really well. He ended up causing a big sack fumble, giving it to the Raiders. But the defense did something that we were just not used to. Granted, it's against the Raiders. I get that. They ended up causing them to just kick a field goal, and they were at their own 20. So you could say whatever offense they play against, they typically had a terrible red zone defense all throughout the year, and for them to pull that off was really nice. We also had a 3-and-out in the first snap of the game, kicked it off to them, and they only got a field goal out of it. So overall, the Raiders started really hot. They were 6-0. They started with the lead 6-0, and then the Cowboys never looked back. All of a sudden, Dak Prescott got it turned on. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb started cooking out there. Javonte Williams even got 94 yards there. The offense was really well balanced. They were able to score, and by the time they got into the second half, it was nothing. Big story out of the game, too, is George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb did not play in the first series of the game, probably why they went 3-and-out. And Rob, if you're asking,
did they say
go ahead.
why? Did they say why? I haven't found a concrete reason yet.
They did not give an exact reason as to why. It was clearly a coach's decision, so it was disciplinary action out there. I did hear on the ticket over here, the sports radio station in the Dallas, Daryl the Moose Johnson said that this happened to one of his players one time. I think it was Michael Irvin or someone. I don't know who. But because they did not get onto the plane, they didn't play for the first series out there. So could be that, could be late for a meeting room, could be a lot of other things that go out there.
They were out partying.
Shoddy,
they were out partying, but I bet
Vegas.
you they had their playbooks with them. I bet you their playbooks were with them.
Well, if you look at George Pickens running routes, and I love this about him, I don't think he looks at the playbook too much. He is a wild card on route running, and it cracks me up. But he actually gets into good positions to throw to Dak, and Dak's starting to build that camaraderie with him. George Pickens looked phenomenal out there, and the Cowboys have a big question on our hands. How are we going to keep George Pickens next year? Because this CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens threat is legit.
Draft a young gun. Don't overpay. You've got too many other holes. Too many other holes.
Oh, Rob, he
that
looks
money
really
can go to
good,
the
though.
defense. That money.
No, that's where
the
the draft
defense.
picks are going. That's where the draft picks are going. That's where the cheap goes. We're going to get the first round contracts.
What's their
and get
cap
them onto
stitch
the
for next
defensive
year?
side.
Are they still up against the cap, or have they gotten some relief? Because if they're going to be up against the cap again for Pickens, don't do it.
The big thing that's going on right now is, one, he could actually take it on the cheap because he likes playing over there. That's one argument. The other one is the franchise tag, where you don't have to worry about the cap penalty next year. You can just franchise tag him.
He'd be the best person to franchise tag, right?
I think so. I just don't know if he would like it too much, but I don't know
Top
why.
5
I don't know why
salary.
I don't know why players hate the franchise tag. It's guaranteed money. You get that no matter what, and you got a top 5 salary in the NFL.
They get mad because if they get hurt, they're losing out. But if they get hurt, they're losing out regardless. So take your top 5. I get not liking if you get tagged 2 years in a row. I get that. But a top 5 salary at your position is nothing to sneeze at when there's 32 teams in the league and you're being given a salary of one of the 5 best at your spot.
Yeah, and it seems like a good deal for him. And even if he gets hurt, I think he'd get a good team anyway, just because of the talent that he's displaying this year. He's doing so much better than he is over at Pittsburgh. He just is. Pittsburgh had a QB carousel. He didn't get along with Tomlin for some odd reason. He's getting shoddy. Maybe it's that change of scenery thing again. He's loving it. He's getting his catches much more than he did in Pittsburgh, and I think he's grooving. He might take a discount just because he's having fun. It's a possibility, and we'll see. But he's definitely going to be a big discussion in the offseason for sure.
Yeah. I'm
Another,
all for franchise tagging him, but I wouldn't sign him for 5 years and a ton of money.
if you can, or
But
maybe
also,
find a way to do
I'm
it.
sitting here. I'm not sitting in Cherry's seat. So
I'm sitting as a Cowboy homer, and I want George Pickens, and I would pay a decent price, but I'd have to see the cap space. I am big on cap space, so we'll see. But
yeah, if there's enough cap space, I can be swayed.
now, the one other interesting aspect of this game, though, was the fact that the defense did come out to play. Granted, we all know it's Geno Smith's Raiders. They have not had a great year all year long, but a lot of window of how offensive coordinators are starting to tap in and looking at this Cowboys defense now that Quinnen Williams has joined the team. And it looks like Chip Kelly basically said, Ashton Gentry, I don't want you to run at all because we can't run it on him. And the few times that he did try to run it, it did not look pretty. That defensive line looked stout. They looked good against Arizona, but now when you got Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark on the team, this defense is all of a sudden turning around. Top that off with now you have Overshown back, Donovan Wilson's back, and then Malik Hooker joined the team as well. Bland also had a good comeback game. They matched him up with Bowers, their great tight end, and he was able to shut him down all game long. The Cowboys defense is starting to look alive. I'm starting to see the picture, and we're playing so much better now. I really am wondering how good this defense might have improved just with the injuries coming back, Quinnen Williams and then Kenny Clark now playing together. This team looks stacked, and they look like they're going to be a tough team that when you fall behind just by a little, the pass rush is converted to now top third of the league, not the bottom third in the league, at least on the pass rush side, because they look good back-to-back weeks. It looks like the injuries coming back is really helping them out and making them a better looking team for sure.
Awesome. They're about to go through the gauntlet. If you look at the next 4 weeks.
I know.
Obviously, we're going to, in our picks, we'll talk about our pick for next week. But do you think, can they go 3-1?
I think they can. I really do. I'm pretty positive right now. We just beat the Raiders. I think we match up well. I've got a couple of concerns with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the fact that we're playing at home and Patrick Mahomes' biggest weakness, thanks to your coach Bill Belichick,
down.
The big thing that Bill Belichick preached and used in the Super Bowl was he was the one that started creating the resurgence of the defensive tackle, because the pass rush, which by the way the Cowboys are like rated 2.1 seconds before the quarterback's going to face some pressure, it's like top 5 in the league. It's already really good. And then with Quinnen Williams jumping, it doesn't look like it. I don't know how that stat worked out, but it did. With Quinnen Williams being there and Kenny Clark, that pass rush in the middle is much more deadly, and I love it for attacking a quarterback straight in the face, and it makes it really a struggle for him. And that is Patrick Mahomes' biggest weakness. If you have a defensive tackles that get right up into his face early, he starts struggling a little bit more. Now, struggles as much as Patrick Mahomes would struggle, but still struggles, and we can play him off this game. So I've got big hopes against Kansas City. I'm still nervous of the offensive line for the Detroit Lions, just because they're overall good and they're playing over at the Detroit Lions. But I think
they just get to get them into like 4 to 5 fourth down scenarios, outside of the Lions zone 20, and they'll win the game.
And the big question is, can they handle the tush push against the Eagles? Because now that you have 2 300-pound tackles there, they might be able to do something.
I didn't see all of the Eagles game. Were the refs calling it straight? Or did they not really have a chance to tush push?
They had one
Because the
tush
thing
push
is,
for a first down.
the tush push works because they're mostly offsides.
There's a lot. I go all in on the tush push. It's not just that. It's point of attack and the rugby style play. It's very fascinating to see how that one works. We don't have time to break it down. But yes, part of it is they're taking advantage of the rules because they're going a little offsides in it. But even if they weren't, I'm telling you, it's a very hard play to play against. And the way defenses are trying to read it, it's not the correct way. There is a way to beat it. You got to go spread and you got to almost flank the attack. It's weird.
Everyone
the only team
lays
that looks
down
like they do it right is 49ers.
Everyone lays down as they snap the ball, and then the guy with the ball trips and drops the ball, and it's a turnover.
More or less, they're attacking a point, and you can flank the point if you spread your defense out. But the 49ers do it the best. They're the ones that I would watch out for when it comes to stopping the tush push. Kyle Shanahan definitely read the book and understood how to do it. But yeah, I've got high hopes for the Cowboys. I think they're going to be looking good. I think they're at least going to have a fun second half of the season because the way the defense was playing before, that was not fun. I hated watching them every time I played out there. It was exciting to watch the defensive line start getting there. It was exciting to watch Deron Bland step up. And another big one that we got is the rookie Shavon Ravel Jr., who, because of an injury, we ended up getting in the third round. This is his first game back, and boy, does he look good. And talk about a game changer. If you can get Deron Bland mixed with a rookie cornerback that plays really well, that should do us pretty well, not only for this year, but the next year as well.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys have opened up a 2-year window, and we're going to see what happens with
it. They sure did, but I think it's like a 2-year soft rebuild, possibly. It's just a quick drop off, and then you can get back over there. I still hate that grade. I saw that again, and it makes me mad every time I see it. I don't know what ESPN's thinking. We didn't sell our entire future. We have 3 first-round draft picks in the next 2 years. We're fine.
I mean, you only gave up one of them, I think. But, I mean, my thing was, I'm like, you've got so many teams to jump. You're out of it. But with what's happening in the NFC, there's a reason I'm sitting here. They could do it. That tie might help them get that 7 seed.
But even if you don't, you got Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams, and if they can be your base of your defensive line, that is serious threats for other teams out there. This team looks 10 times better with those two out there, and it just light years ahead. Now, granted, I know I'm getting excited because they played against the Raiders, but I didn't see that all year long. I did not see a pass rush over there. Mix that with Odigizua. Go get yourself a couple of defensive ends out there in the draft, and this defense could be a threat. It could turn around from one of the worst defenses in the league to one of the better ones next year. And I'm excited
with
about
the right
it.
defensive coordinator. You still want Eberflus gone, right?
I think so, but maybe because of the Marshawn Nealon thing. I don't know what happened out there, but the defense looked like they were quitting on Eberflus. Now they're not looking like they're quitting. I still got my problems with Eberflus, and we're about to see how he does against the Eagles. But he's coaching for his job, and if he can get this thing as a mediocre defense, I think he's going to probably keep his job because Jerry specifically said the one thing that he regrets in the last 3 years is the fact that he kept on churning out defensive coordinators after Dan Quinn. This is his third one since Dan Quinn, and he doesn't like that because it's not consistency on scheme. So he must like the zone. Maybe he does, and he just wants to stick with Eberflus. Eberflus really isn't a bad coordinator. He took the Colts #1 when and they were the greatest
I'm sorry. I would just roll back 2 or 3 pods to get your previous thoughts on Eberflus.
No, my thoughts have always been consistent. I say he does not work well with the soldiers that he has, but and that's my biggest problem. They weren't coached for man-to-man. They're a physical defense that's supposed to push you at the line of scrimmage and cause problems. It's a Dan Quinn style defense that Eberflus took over, and now he's running complicated zones that they don't know how to run out there. So I just never liked him for the Cowboys. I think it was a terrible pickup by Jerry to even pick him up, because if you looked at your defense, you should have realized he can't do anything with these guys. They're not meant for his scheme. And that's my biggest argument against Eberflus. But
Okay.
the players are playing for him now, then I don't know, maybe. And it is complicated. You can get interceptions with it. I mean, like I said, he was really good with the Colts. They were number one in turnovers, mainly because he's got weird zone schemes, linebackers where you don't expect them to be, and all of a sudden they get interceptions. Can't do it with Kenneth Murray, but maybe with the Overshown and these different kids that are in the unit, maybe they could play better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
All right. Well, but that's about all I got for the Cowboys. I assume you're good, right? I go on
Are you sure that's all you got? Are you sure? We've only been going like 20 minutes on the Cowboys. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm excited.
We're a Cowboys Pats pod. It's good. We should be going long on our favorite teams. It's all good. So, do we want to do picks first, or we want to talk playoffs?
Let's just dive into it. Let's get into the playoffs. We're not going to talk too much about the Colts. Sorry if you like the music video. We're already kind of running on.
Oh, I think we should still play it. We can tell them what's going on real quick. We should still play it.
All right, let's do it.
What's going on with the Colts? What's going on with the Colts? What's going on with the Colts? Is it go blue? Let's ride. Or lucky shoe? Who knows? Who knows? What's going on with the Colts?
Well, Nick, I can tell you what's going on with the Colts. They had a bye week. Jonathan Taylor's still pretty amazing, and he got to heal up for a week. And they're currently the third seed in the AFC. Still lead the AFC South. However, it's not a cakewalk the rest of the way. The Jaguars are right there. I know the Chargers have been hurt, but my goodness, did they get destroyed by the Jags? Wow. And the Texans are honestly, I think they are far worse than their 5-5 record, because their defense is great, but they can't do anything on offense, are also right there. So the Colts don't have a cakewalk. And let's see what happens. Let's look at the playoffs. Let's talk AFC playoffs. The Colts are there. They're in the 3 seed. The Broncos, I think, are in the right spot. If I had to through 11 weeks now. Wow, it's already through 11 weeks. Through 11 weeks now, far and away, I think the Broncos are the top team in the AFC. And I know if I had to pick right now 2 teams for the Super Bowl, I know the Broncos would be on the AFC side. I'll tell you when we talk NFC who I think is on the NFC side. But wow, I think everything's looking good. The spots that I think I'm going to have to, like, if it was up to me, the spots I would change, I think there's 3 teams in here. At least 2 of them won't be in here at the end. 3 might be gone. I think the Ravens are going to win the division. So the Steelers are going to be gone. Or if the Steelers are lucky, they're a 7 seed. And then I can't, can anyone trust the Jaguars yet? I think Kansas City gets in. And then it's just a matter of, is it the Steelers or the Chargers that take the last spot? If the Chargers can stay healthy, I think they do. And then it's Bills, Patriots. One's going to be the 2, one's going to be the 5.
I mean, and yeah, like I'm right there with you on that, because I'm just not too familiar, like too sure about the Jaguars this year. And then of course the Steelers, very similar teams. They're just Jekyll and Hyde, and you don't know what you're going to get each week from them. Plus a big injury from Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah, he's got a broken wrist, non-throwing hand. It doesn't require surgery, but he is football old.
He could take pain though. He could take. He's a pretty tough quarterback, even though he's 40-something odd years old. I just don't know if he's going to want to go out there with this.
Oh, he's already said he doesn't want to miss a week. It's up to Tomlin and the doctors. And then that's where you got to look at the Steelers and say, Steelers, really? You re-signed Mason Rudolph? That is your option behind Old Man Rodgers? You could have had Jameis Winston rolling out.
Could have, but Mason Rudolph, I think, is similar to like Cooper Rush for the Cowboys. It's just one of those, they just work well, okay together, and they just don't want to rock the boat too much. I mean, it's going to be very average with Mason Rudolph. But then he goes somewhere else, he doesn't play well. And then he goes back to the Steelers. Yeah. He's all right. He's an okay backup. Something that I saw in this playoff thing that I find so intriguing is when you guys played against the Broncos and it was a tough loss for the Patriots, who would have thought...
Steelers, you mean? We haven't played the Broncos yet.
Oh, you haven't played the Broncos. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm confused with...
We've lost to the
different game,
Raiders and the Steelers.
Gotcha. So overall, though, I mean, you guys are the top two in the division. Who do you think is going to get the bye week by the end of the year?
I think Denver is. I think a friend of the pod, Etzel, he was spot on. At this point, they've got a 3.5 game lead on the Chiefs. They're winning that division. Especially if they can find a way to get Bo Nix going before the second half. They can get him moving a little bit better. I don't see how the Broncos, but then again, the Broncos got a tougher division. So if the Colts can keep beating the Colts, I think the Colts can come up and snag it. Any of the Broncos or the Colts or the Pats, any of the three could get it, and it makes sense. The Pats have the easiest schedule, but they've been going up against like top 5 defenses on average. So like they're not just cakewalking it. But it would not shock me if the Pats end up as a 5 seed. The Bills end up probably as, depending on where their record goes, the 3 or the 4 seed. And then the Colts have, I think, the easier schedule over the Broncos. So I could see the Colts stealing the 1 seed, but I can also see the Broncos hanging on. Because there's a common opponent that the Colts got this week that I think the Broncos showed why they're the better team.
Kansas City? Is that the one? Yeah. And they ended up winning that one. Now, it was an ugly game, but they ended up pulling through and winning that one, right? Doesn't matter how, just get it done, right?
And Kansas City was coming off of bye week.
Yeah. So... yeah, they should have played a lot better. And Andy Reid's usually got a good record on bye weeks too. So for him,
very
to get
good.
That one. Yeah, that was very shocking. But I have nothing. I'm right there with you with what exactly you're saying when it comes to the AFC side. It's also really I struggle with that field. So
just real quick. Yeah, I think it's, if I'm looking at this right now, I think the Broncos stay at the 1, Colts end up at the 2. And I hope I'm wrong about this seeding, because that means that my Pats are in a great spot. I think the Colts end up at the 2. I think you're then looking at the Bills as the 3, the Ravens as the 4, Pats 5, and then you got Kansas City 6, and then Steelers 7.
Pretty good. So Steelers still
make it. If the Pats hold on to the 2, I'm real scared about Kansas City coming to Foxborough.
It's going to be a hell of a game that I'm cheering for it just for the excitement level.
And I mean, I don't know if the Pats could go into Baltimore and win either, but
I think they have
either way, we're talking playoffs, and that's awesome.
Yeah, which was, more than you could ask for, especially with the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah.
So that's the AFC side. We got the NFC right over here, and you'll notice that the Dallas Cowboys aren't on here. Okay, and last time I checked, this was done before the Monday night game, so I'll give them a little credit on that.
Yeah, so was the NFC one, because you saw the record of the Raiders. It wasn't updated.
But somehow the Raiders made it in the hunt, and Cowboys didn't. I'm not mad. I'm not mad, Rob. I'm just saying, we're now 4-5-1. We have a better record than Minnesota does. So I don't know
Yeah,
why.
Minnesota's not making the playoffs. No way.
It doesn't look like it's so. So do you think any of these teams? I mean, we're looking at Seattle. I think is looking really good. I think they're going to be a shoe in. The problem with the NFC West is it looks like 3 teams could possibly make it to the playoffs. I mean, right now you have 3 teams in it as we speak, so they're going to take up a lot of real estate when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold threw 4 picks, and they still had a game-winning field goal at the end.
They were good. They still look good after Sam Darnold
Yeah.
did all that. I mean, and that was at San Francisco, right? No, I'm sorry, at the Rams. At the Rams.
At the Rams, yeah. That was in California. You had the state right.
I got the right state. But yeah, so that they're gonna take it. I think they're all 3 gonna go in, and I don't think we disagree on that, right? Those are 3 good looking teams.
Yeah.
Which then leaves it out to be when it comes to the wild card race, the Green Bay Packers, do they make the playoffs, or are they looking like they're struggling? You're predicting no. Really?
No, they don't have enough receiver depth. If Jacobs is out for there's a chance he might play this week, but if he aggravates it, if he's out for an extended period of time, the depth's not there. I don't think the Bears are winning the division. I think the Lions find a way to do it, but I think the Bears are in the playoffs.
Which would be insane, because if you told the Green Bay Packer fan base after they traded for Micah Parsons, would you have done that trade if you knew you were not going to make the playoffs this year? There's no way you would do it.
No.
I mean, they're in some trouble next couple of years. They don't have any first round draft picks for the next 2 years.
But they've got Micah Parsons.
They got him, but they're not winning with them right now. I mean, they're doing okay. They're 6-3-1. I shouldn't discredit them too much. And their defense does look good. It's just the offense. Ugh.
So yeah, out of the 7 teams currently in the playoffs in the NFC, there are 2 I think won't be in.
Okay, and that's going to be the Green Bay Packers, who's just announced that one. Who's the other one? I missed it.
I don't think the Bucks make it.
And
they've lost 2 games. Division. I think the Panthers are going to win the division because the Bucks are going into another very tough game this week that they're probably going to drop. They're going into Buffalo. No, they already lost to Buffalo. Sorry. But they got another tough game this week. I think they're losing too many games. I think they're going to fall out of the playoff race. I think the Panthers I think are a better team, which is crazy to think about, but I think they're a better team. I think the Panthers take that 4 seed, they steal it from the Bucks, and then if the Cowboys can go 3-1 in the next 4, I think they can make sure that they're the 7 seed and not the Bucks.
Yeah, and obviously you're not accepting the fact that they could possibly come back and beat the Eagles in the division, though. Am I getting that correct?
No, they're not doing.
You don't think so?
No,
because the Eagles.
I don't think the Eagles are hanging on to the 1 seed though.
Well, the Eagles, their matchups are pretty easy too, and that's my biggest problem with it. Right now, they're going to play the Cowboys next week, and we'll talk about that in the picks. But they've got the Bears, Chargers, Raiders, Commanders, and Bills. So really, Chargers, Bills, and Bears, even if they lose those 3, and maybe even if they lose to the Cowboys, that would be 4 losses. That would put them at what? Well, I don't know. That'd be what 11-6. I don't know if the Cowboys can catch them at that point. They have to go on a heater.
And I think they're going on a heater. I just don't think it's going to be that good. But yeah, my 1 seed, I'd have the Rams as the 1 seed. Give the Eagles going to win the division. I think they're going to end up as the 2. Lions 3. Panthers 4. And then I think the Seattle Seahawks are right where they're supposed to be at 5. That's when you put the Bears at 6. Oh, sorry. That would knock the Bears. Oh, I think the Bears at 6. I think the Cowboys at 7. So the Niners don't have a lot of depth. They've had a lot of injuries, except for McCaffrey. So yeah, Cowboys or Niners for 7.
I think it's a tough stretch. I think the Cowboys, it's not going to look good. I'm not predicting the Cowboys to do it. I'm not predicting it just because if I predict it, I think it won't go into fruition anyway. I'm taking
Fair
this
enough.
one game at a time. That's the way I'm approaching it. We're not going to look at the gauntlet. We're just going to look at the first bite of the elephant, Rob.
That's fair. But we're shaping up for an exciting. Who would be your Super Bowl pick? Who would be your 2 teams in the Super Bowl if you had to pick right now?
If I had to pick right now, I got the Rams winning the NFC. I just think they're just the more squared away team, and they look really good out there. I'm never going to pick the Eagles. Sorry, Eagle fans. I'm just not doing it. Even if they did look like the best, I'd find an excuse not to pick you. And then I've got... I got to look at the Broncos. I mean, I think the Broncos could do it. They just look like a stable team. If Bo Nix can get a little bit more consistent, I think that would help them out. The AFC looks like it's going to be tough, though, especially with the Colts. But with Danny Dimes, I just don't trust him. And the Bills, I just don't trust whatever the hell they're doing right now. They seem to not be consistent. And you can never count out the Kansas City Chiefs. I know you'd like to, but they could always come back and get into this thing for sure. But that's my guess. I would say Denver and the Rams.
That's where I'm leaning right now. But it is Drake May's 2nd year in the league. They weren't supposed to make a run like they were supposed to make. And who did Tom Brady beat in his 2nd year in the league to win the Super Bowl?
The Rams. So you just
The
want
Rams.
poetic justice.
It'd be poetic, but I don't think it's happening. I think it'd be poetic. I do think we're looking at a 2nd ring for Matthew Stafford if we were to go on all the data we have right at this moment.
And a Hall of Fame, right? If you go two, that's a Hall of Fame, right?
He's already in the Hall of Fame. All those numbers he put up in Detroit when they were Detroit, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and career longevity, I think, is a big key factor to that too. Just being in the league that long, that good.
And if Stafford can get a second ring, I think then he goes ahead and says, "I'm good."
I don't know. He'd probably say, "Run it back. Why not? One more time.
He might, but he's had those back issues on and off, and a back will mess you up, man.
Yeah, but it's got to be fun with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. It's got to be a blast to run that offense, but it probably hurts too. And I don't feel that pain. I just see the bright side. Speaking of futures and taking one game at a time, like I was saying earlier, Rob, are we ready to take it 1 week at a time and get into the next week's picks?
Oh, yes, we are, because we've clearly gone into a supersized episode for this week. So yes, let's get to those picks.
All right, let's do it.
Making picks with Nick and Rob. Nick and Rob. That pick might be a hatchet job. Less reliable than a cone on the cob, but I love hearing picks from Nick and Rob. Na, 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 na.
Let's make some picks. We got 3 picks to make.
we sure do, and it looks like I want to start it off with the New England Patriots, since it's a 12:00 game against the Cincinnati Bengals. So they're playing at Cincinnati, and one thing's for sure, I don't know. Cincinnati's had a decent offense, but a terrible defense.
But
how
they're
you feeling
without
about
somebody.
Yeah, Joe Burrow will not be back by then, right? Did they sit him for the season?
No. Burrow's not back yet, but Jamar Chase is suspended for Spitgate Chapter 2. Jamar Chase will not be playing.
Chapter 2. Dak will teach you, Jamar Chase. It's spit at the ground, not the player, and that's how you get away with that, buddy.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, I'm still nervous about the game because the Bengals defense is good, and as we mentioned, the Pats defense is banged up. Joe Flacco is the ageless random wonder. So it wouldn't shock me if the Pats drop this game, but now the fact that they can drop the game plan and focus on, T. Higgins and the other weapons and not have to worry about Jamar Chase, the Pats should not lose this game.
I mean, Vegas is agreeing with you 100%. They've got you guys minus 7.5. And I said this for the Jets too. I would definitely take the Patriots on the 7.5. Is the spread scaring you a little, Rob?
Yeah, it's kind of high, but I think that's because they probably already had the Pats by 3 or 4, and then the suspension came out, so they bumped it up.
Yeah, Vegas is jumping in on it. So yeah, I think we're both picking the Patriots. That seems like an easy one with how bad the Cincinnati Bengals are looking. I don't think that one's too difficult. The Indianapolis Colts, though, they look like they're playing the Detroit Lions. Am I getting that correct?
Chiefs this week, right?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Rob, if you got it.
Well, let me make sure. I didn't have it up. I just thought I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah, it's
loading. All right, so they're at the Chiefs in Kansas City.
Ooh.
I think that not only, and I hope I'm wrong, because they're the team of the pod, I think it's a Kansas City beatdown this week.
Beatdown? Really?
I think Kansas City's mad. They came off a bye week and they looked bad and they lost. I think Andy Reid is going to be throwing cheeseburgers at the players during practice. Maybe some rib bones. There's going to be a lot of anger. Travis Kelce embarrassed himself in front of his future wife. He's got to step up. So yeah, I think the Chiefs win this one comfortably, and then you couple that with a win either in Houston or Jacksonville, and all of a sudden, it gets interesting in the South.
It sure would get interesting if they lost. I'll tell you one thing. I am rooting, and I'm sorry, Colts fans, and I haven't been the best to you guys, but I am rooting on the Colts to lose this game simply because I don't need the Patriots to have 2 straight losses heading into the Thanksgiving game, because I don't want their anger to go out against us. So I'm with you. I think the Chiefs are going to win 3.5. I'm just doing that simply because I'm a homer and I'm cheering for the Cowboys, and I don't think the Chiefs are going to lose 3 in a row, and somehow I'm going to will it that the Cowboys are going to end up winning that Thanksgiving game. I'll make up a reason, and it'll be a good one. So give me the Chiefs. I know it's pretty boring right now, but I'm right there with you, Rob. It's going to be the Chiefs all day on this one.
Yeah. So that leaves us with the next game. What are the Cowboys going to do?
This is easy for me, man. It's time. Division matchup, okay? They're playing at home, all right? Cowboys actually looked really good against the Eagles' defense early in the year. Obviously, the Eagles' defense has looked a little better, but if you look at Dak Prescott's career record against division opponents, stats don't lie, and he seems to be able to find ways to win. And we're not going 0-2 back-to-back years against the Eagles. I'm saying the Dallas Cowboys are going to give Jalen Hurts a ton of trouble. They're not going to be able to run the ball like they should. I'm still worried about the passing game, but if Jalen Hurts has a struggle bus game just like he did last week, they're going to be in some trouble because our offense will find a way to score, and I do believe they will if the defense can keep them somewhat contained throughout the game. Eagles are favored by 4 points in Dallas, and I'd still put the Cowboys over the top. I say the Dallas Cowboys are going to get a big win against the Eagles and let the chase for the playoffs begin, because that's going to be their first of 3 gauntlet games that are coming up for the Cowboys. So this would just be number 1. You'll get this one, and hopefully they can turn it around right now. Eagles offense too looks like they've been struggling. So let's see if we can take advantage of that in Dallas.
Yeah, I agree with you. I said earlier this episode, I think the Cowboys are going to go on a run. I think they have a chance to steal that 7 seed away from the Mac Jones and Brock Purdy Niners. I think the Cowboys win this one. I think the biggest question, the true biggest question of this whole game, if A.J. Brown gets a reception, does he immediately turn and hand it to a Cowboys defender and walk off the field?
I don't think so. He's a good sportsman. He'll do it. He'll play the game, but that'd be awesome.
That'd be
Deron Bland's a
hilarious.
little bit of a yeah, and the good thing is we're not going to have to probably play Deron Bland on him. We'll probably give it to the rookie, and no, that's a tall order, but I don't know. Jalen Hurts looked like he was a little confused with our zone scheme. He ran it on us, so I don't know, man. I think we're just going to pull it off, but Vegas disagrees. They say 4 points Philadelphia, and unfortunately, fans, not too much movement on our overall picks. I've got the picks right here. Right now, Rob's got a 1 point lead on me. I guess it will not change this week. We'll have to wait till next week to get any sort of change in on that. But next thing I'll look up is percentages, how many we gotten right. But I think we've done pretty good.
Yeah, Overall, I think we got winning records. If you were following along on our picks and making even bets all the way through, you would be, as long as it was the money line, you would be up on the year. Probably can't retire, but you'd be up.
It would be nice. It would be nice. But that is it. So the show ended up being a little longer. I guess the playoff talk, that's going to do that. So for you fans that stuck with us.
The Eastside news went long. We had some. We talked about Tua, and there was some good content this week that we had to dive into. This is a deserved supersized episode.
Yeah, and for free. So enjoy it, everyone. Have fun with it. But yeah, Rob, I know a lot of them are watching us on YouTube. What are some of the other spots and avenues that they can find us, like us, and subscribe to us?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you're watching us here on YouTube, thank you for joining our 1,000 plus subscribers. That's right. We're over the 1K mark. We are excited about that. Make sure if you haven't hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share it on your socials, share it. We want to keep growing. Share it with your friends. Besides that, we're on Instagram, Nick and Rob Homer Hour. We are at TikTok, Nick and Rob Homer Hour. Also, if you need to drive around, I think we did miss last week's episode, but most episodes, including this week's, will be up on Spotify at the Nick and Rob Homer Hour. So go ahead and get on that. Share with your friends. We're marching towards 2K. We want 2K before the playoffs now. So let's help us out. Let's grow and let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be fun and exciting heading into the playoffs, and we love the fact that you guys are along for the ride. Of course, we love our fans and the people that were at the live feed, Tony, and then all the New England crew up there as well, joining us along. It's been fun, guys, and I guess we'll see you next time.